Hi, this is John.
And this is Chris.
We're just two guys in their 40s trying to live life to the fullest, and what better way to help us along our path but to share our goals and ideas with a buddy.
The Accountability Call is our way of helping each other stay on the track and keep us moving on down the road of life. We hope you like it, and thanks for listening.
Let's get physical, physical. I want to get physical. Let's get into physical. Let me hear your body talk. You know that one, don't you?
Oh, you know that I know that one. And I know that you know that one as well. Little Olivia Newton John, straight from the 80s. One of those videos that will stick with you for the rest of your life.
It does. I used to love Olivia Newton John. And that came out, and she's like dressed up in the old headband and the short hair and running around, getting physical. It reminds me of that movie. I think Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta. It was called Perfect. Remember that movie? And it was all about the fitness industry, and he was writing an article, and it was this whole little thing. Where have those good quality movies gone, Chris?
That makes me think of like Quicksilver as well. Yeah, Perfect. I remember John Travolta talking about how much work it was for him to keep those abs. And I think it was like maybe when he was filming Pulp Fiction and everyone asked him, dude, what happened, man? You used to be in such great shape. He's like, it is so much work. It's like a full-time job to keep that physique. And I didn't feel like putting in that work to it anymore. So here I am.
He actually made a nice comeback with Pulp Fiction because he had kind of disappeared for 5 or 6 years, I think. But what's interesting, too, is as we get older, we know it's tough to stay in great shape. And, the leading man, I just watched the Highwaymen. It's got Woody Harrelson and it's got Kevin Costner. And it's a Netflix original, and it's talking about these two former Texas Rangers who actually were commissioned and hired to go chase down the Bonnie and Clyde, gangsters that were robbing banks throughout the South and what have you. Pretty good little movie, but it's funny to watch Kevin Costner try and run. He takes off after this young kid who's got something he wants. And I'm like, oh, no, don't do that. No, Kevin, no. Because he's 60 something now. We can't be doing that. It's like, that's not good. And I know they had to stop and then start it again and change the, matched action, because there's no way he ran for 35 seconds because that wasn't good.
So you're saying 60-plus-year-old man can't run for 35 seconds consecutively. What should a 60-plus-year-old man be able to do in terms of running consecutively or working out for that matter?
Probably run to the bathroom really quick before he has a problem. But no, I'm sure he could probably do it. He was in dress clothes and dress shoes, and they may have had to shoot it a couple times, but I always thought that's not Kevin Costner from Field of Dreams, where he looked like he could still play ball. Or what was the movie where he was the pitcher, was like a
Perfect Game,
or something like that, or For Love of the Game, I think it was.
Good call.
Billy Chapel. And the cathedral that is Yankee Stadium belongs to a chapel. Thank you. That was my Vinny.
I still haven't seen that movie.
What?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I know I need to. I hear it's pretty good. For whatever reason, I don't know. I assumed it was more a love story and less baseball, but I've heard people say, no, dude, it's legitimate. It's authentic. The baseball scenes. That's what upsets me. Upset's not the right word, but when a baseball movie has characters in it that obviously or actors that obviously have never played baseball, that's a pet peeve of mine. I watched Tiger Town with my son. I don't know if we talked about this, but Roy Schneider should not be playing a baseball player. Excellent in Jaws and lots of other movies, but as a baseball player, even an aging baseball player, no business whatsoever in that type of movie. So that always bugs me. For whatever reason, it's just a pet peeve of mine that if you're going to do a movie about sports, have the actors actually be able to look like they play that sport. Is that too much to ask, John?
So you're thinking Brewster's Millions, Richard Pryor wasn't exactly.
And John Candy.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I think I don't remember Richard Pryor looking that awful throwing. I feel like he had somewhat natural arm motion. He wasn't short arming it or anything like that. I'll have to go back and look at the tape though. Yeah,
it was funny in that movie, Brewster's Millions. He's pitching, and the big batter for the Yankees that he strikes out is none other than a former big leaguer. It's Pete Vukovich, who was a pitcher for the Brewers and I believe won the Cy Young Award. And he's actually a hitter in the movie.
I think you might be getting your movies mixed up.
All right, keep going.
I think Pete Vukovich was in Major League. Wasn't he the big hitter in Major League? He was the first baseman, Clay something, and Ricky Vaughn struck him out.
It might have been. We need to look that
up. We're so old. We're like two grandpas having a conversation, and all the kids listening are like, "You idiots! You're not even in the same ballpark."
It might not be the same ballpark. I like that. Maybe Vukovich was in Major League. I can't remember that though.
You keep stalling while I look it up right here.
You stall. I'll stall. I will. And we talk about a 60-year-old guy. Let's get to my yoga because it's been a while, guys. I'm going through class this week and I'm bouncing around, and everybody, that's close to me knows I'll be 50 this year. But in yoga, what do you got?
I got Pete Vukovich. All right. Let's see it. Pete Vukovich in Major League.
Okay, he was in Major League.
He was in Major League, yeah.
So
you keep talking, and I'll find out who the baseball player was in Brewster's Million.
Okay, cool. Find that out. And so the next thing is I tell people, I'm yelling around the room. I've got them doing cardio. I'm like, hey, come on now. Keep it going. Give me some more effort. You got this, Encinitas. I said, I'm going to be 60 this year. Or I go, I'm going to be 60. And people look at me like, what? I go, in 10 years.
You're such a jerk.
I know. It's so fun. What'd you find out? Brewster's Millions. Who is this?
Was it Rick Moranis? Rick Moranis was in that movie. I'm assuming that wasn't the person.
Oh my God!
Are you the gatekeeper? Are you the gatekeeper? Was it Yakov Smirnoff? Was it Yakov Smirnoff who's also in that movie?
What a country! What a country!
What a country!
No.
I do not see any baseball players as we look at our phones while. Nope. No Major League Baseball players were harmed or used in the filming of the movie Brewster's Millions.
I love it. All right. Well, you got the point. I have
Point
no
Carlock.
I am mixing my terrible 1980s movies. Although Major League was pretty fun.
Major League was fun. I remember my parents taking me and my brothers to see it for my birthday. It was 1989, and it was right before going to see a Giants game. And when the Indians take the field before the playoff game, I remember getting juiced, and that moment of anticipation, especially for a big baseball game. And they really nailed it. Like, the scenes in that movie are legit, right? Crowds cheering at the right time. Players look like they can actually play baseball for the most part.
Yeah.
That gets my seal of approval for authenticity, John.
Well, I'm not going to say you're going to really love the Kevin Costner movie for love of the game, because it is sort of a love story, but because you worked in baseball and you kind of know how some of it works, it's not too shabby. It's fun to watch them pitch, and they did throw it in the old Yankee Stadium. But let's jump back to the fitness of a 60-year-old really quick. We talked a little bit about this before we got here today. I saw an ad recently on a social media post, and I believe it was geared towards somebody who either does yoga or, looks at fitness stuff, because it was pointed directly at me, and it said, hey, you can get life insurance, you can get wellness insurance through this company. I don't even remember the company, but it listed off, can you run a 9-minute mile? Can you ride 14 miles an hour? Can you bench press your body weight? Can you ride 50 plus miles a week? Can you swim a quarter mile nonstop? Can you do 20 burpees in a row? Can you do 15 consecutive pull-ups? And do you exercise 2.5 hours a week? And at the end of it, it said, can you do at least one of these? Because if you can, we can insure you at a great rate. I'm like, I thought you had to do them all. I'm looking at that going, well, good Lord. I don't know if I could do all those. Not even when I was 30, who can swim a quarter mile nonstop if you're not a swimmer? Probably not me, because I'm like a, heavy rock in water. But then I started going.
Real quickly, you told me the story of swimming,
Yeah,
and I'm a terrible swimmer as well. I'm not a strong swimmer,
not a
but
strong swimmer.
you told me that you did a triathlon, a sprint triathlon, and didn't swim, didn't practice swimming whatsoever, and you almost had to be taken out of the water by the dudes on the surfboards out there waiting. You thought to yourself, "I'm gonna die." We still joke about it sometimes.
I really did. There was a few other circumstances, but I don't think I could have swam it anyway. I was out of breath. I hyperventilated in the water. I think I probably could have done it if I wouldn't have run a quarter mile before I jumped in the water. But anyway, but still, a quarter mile swim is no joke. I honestly, 15 consecutive pull-ups for me, 15 years ago, yes. Now, maybe 7 or 8. I don't think I could do that many. My shoulders are beat up. I'm heavier. I'm not as strong. I mean, I'm going to be 50, Chris. So, but it was a pretty interesting list. I definitely know I could ride that. Bench press your body weight. I used to do a lot more than that. Now I could probably do my weight once or twice. Mm-hmm. But fun little list to see. 9-minute mile. And if you're over 40, a 9-minute mile starts to become pretty taxing. And, you know, unless you're lean or you're just doing cardio throughout the week, that can be tough. A lot of people don't run 9-minute miles anymore. The 10-minute mile is more realistic, but, you know, 9 minutes, that's a pretty good bar to hit. If you can run a 9-minute mile and you're over 40, that's pretty good, I think. And so those are kind of fun things. What's the other one I saw in there? 20 burpees in a row. We know we can do that. But I just thought it was kind of a fun little fitness thing. And I'm looking, May 1st is coming up. I need to have another challenge. I really enjoyed the little daily challenge to push myself. And so I think I'm going to start something May 1st, and I'm taking suggestions.
Suggestions for John, fitness challenge. Yeah, that's good to have like a monthly challenge, whether it be fitness or be more aware about something or whatever. There's a Spartan coming up. Spartan, I believe, maybe the beginning of June, actually, the one that we did a couple of years ago. I think
Salinas.
Yeah, I think it's at the beginning of summer or the end of spring. We'll have to circle back on that. But I've also been thinking that would be cool to sign up for something like that, to kind of have an impetus to train for something in particular. And I think it's a good idea to have measuring sticks like the one that you just mentioned, to be able to, you know, sort of not compare, but that's what we do anyway, right? We compare, like, all right, I'm 40, I just turned 43, you're 49, almost 50. You know, what should a healthy 43 or 49-year-old be able to do? And going down the list, I think you and I can feel confident in being able to pull off just about all those. The swim, I wouldn't be able to do a quarter of a mile swim without stopping and huffing and puffing either. But the other ones, I feel pretty confident about being able to do. But there should be, maybe that's something that we can create, is like a threshold, a barrier, or a measuring stick for different ages of what we should be able to do. Because 60 years old, it's hard for us to imagine what we're going to feel like when we're 60. I'd like to think that it's not going to be that much different than how we are now, because we're going to continue to be active and we're going to continue to work out. We're not going to be able to run as fast as we were able to, but dude, I got to think if we just continue to do something every day or almost every day, that maybe we don't fall into Kevin Costner territory where he can't run 30 feet, right? I mean, is that the key? I don't know.
Well, he could probably do it. It just didn't look good. It didn't look good. And that's my problem, is that I don't think I look good doing much of the running anymore. But you know what? It's definitely better. It's like keeping the house picked up. We've talked about better to keep up than catch up. But also, Chris, I mean, you start to change. And I'm feeling a little more soreness in some of my joints from a lot of the exercise I do. And I notice it more than I ever did before. And I just think that's normal. And we talk to old ball players and stuff, and they're like, it's different. That's why you wear out. You can't, I mean, they still know how to do it. Their mind knows how to do it, but your body starts to wear out a little bit. It doesn't do the same things it used to. So modifying Maybe not as much running for me because I get really sore in my ankle joints, and some of my knee joints now are getting sore, which I never had before. So it's impact. Do I go more low impact? Am I doing more stretchy stuff and a little bit longer holds? Maybe it's bands instead of brute force weights. But back in the day, it was always a goal of mine to be able to be a member of the 1,000-pound club. And the 1,000-pound club was, could you bench press, deadlift, and squat a total of 1,000 pounds? And I always thought that would be cool, but my bench press would only get to like 250, which means I had to do 750 of squat and deadlift. The deadlift I was actually pretty strong on. The squat I was okay, but I couldn't get up. I couldn't squat, 450 pounds. That's a lot of plates on there. And it was just, I was so lean and I think tall, and just, I would have needed to really work at it. So I think I became a member of the 800-pound club, but I don't think I ever got to the 1,000. I was like, well, damn it. That would have been a good goal. Those days are gone. I'm not going to be doing that anymore. But, I don't know. You don't always have to reach your goal. It's just something to shoot for.
Yep.
And so I kind of liked the challenge of our burpee challenge, or I like the challenge of doing, a bunch of push-ups. So I'm definitely thinking maybe a push-up burpee combo for May, or maybe it's the squats and shoulders. I don't know, but I like the challenge of it. It definitely helps me just be mindful of my fitness during the day. I've always liked to be active, and I do have a road bike that's great weather, so I'm going to hop back out on that a little bit more now too. So I've got a few fitness goals. And then Spartan with you, my friend, would be fun. I don't know about the super. The 10-mile run was a little tough on the old guy. I could do it, but I paid for it. But the milkshake and burger afterwards and time with you, worth it.
You're so sweet. Yeah, that was a great burger. Definitely. I'm reading this book called The Miracle Equation by Hal Elrod, who started me on this whole path with his book, The Miracle Morning. And he talks about goals in there, and it's actually a Jim Rohn quote about, we don't set goals necessarily to accomplish things. We set goals to be able to become the type of person that can accomplish a goal, or we set goals to be able to grow, to be able to accomplish that specific goal. Whether we reach that goal or not, that's less important than the growth that occurs within us in trying to attain that goal. And so I totally love the idea of like a monthly challenge. I'm right there with you. Dude, let's like go accountable with each other right here. I like the burpees because the burpees are total body. They are, beneficial in every aspect physically, and they start the day off on the right track. I think 6,000 was a little bit too ambitious. I know you got to 6,000.
Yeah,
I
did.
got a little bit less than 6,000.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of days where I was like, dude, this is a big ask, but something a little bit less than 6,000, I'd be down. I love the push-ups always as well. So if you want to have a little challenge with each other for burpees, which could lead into doing the Spartan, because if you don't do one of the obstacles, you have to jump down and crank out 30 burpees, as if being out there doing all the obstacles isn't enough. So yeah, monthly challenge. Let's do it, man. Let's say May. Let's set, how many burpees should we try to attain?
All right. So I just did the calculations here. 4,500 burpees is 145 a day of 31 days.
4,500.
So, yeah. So maybe, let me think, 5,000 divided by 31 is 160. Let's save ourselves a day off. We'll say 5,000 divided by 30 days is 166 burpees a day. Can we do 166? Let's divide that by 22. So you do 22 at a time. You got to do 7.5. 7.5, 22. So it'd be 7 22s and then another 11. I don't know. Just trying to think of a weird number that you could hit and still get 5,000 burpees for the month, and maybe you do more than that. Is that too much?
Well, that's the whole thing about goals, right? Is we want to set goals that are outside of our comfort zone. And I think you and I can both agree that 5,000 burpees in 1 month is outside of our comfort zone. Can we become the type of person that can do 5,000 burpees in 1 month? And so, and thinking of it in those terms, I say, let's do it, right? Let's do it. And the benefits will be huge in a lot of ways, because in order to be able to do that, we have to make a few other tweaks as well, right? Make sure that we're sleeping well, make sure that we're eating well to be able to pull them all off. So 5,000, I'm in. Let's do it.
5,000. Now, just real quick, even though you said you're in, I just did the math. I took 1 day off. So instead of 31 days, there's 30 in May. If you did 150 a day, that's an easy 4,500. 150 a day gives you that round number. 166 will get you 5,000. 150 a day will get you 4,500. What do you think?
I'm sticking with 5,000 because of the extreme outside of our comfort zone that enables us to do. I think we will grow more from the harder to achieve goals. So I'm going to say 5,000.
I like it. And here's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to do 166, right? I'm going to do 66 in the morning, like right when I get going. If I get those 66 out of the way, then I know I've got 100 more to do throughout the day. And I got the rest of the day to get 100, which is really kind of easier for me to do 20 at a time, 5 times, or maybe just 10 quick ones here, and then start the microwave, get my soup out, do another 10, whatever. That's how I was doing it to myself. It became a game in December. It really did. And the travel was tough, and switching to a new place in Denver just for a few nights, there wasn't a real great place, a space to do it. It was cold. I couldn't do it outside. Sometimes I would be outside pulling a couple weeds or grabbing the mail, and I'd just drop a few burpees in the front yard. It was cold in December. I wasn't outside doing it. I was like, this is funky. It's the elements. There's challenges. We're traveling on a day, and it's like flying and, airports and trying to do burpees in an airport and stuff. It was wacky, but I was able to do it. And everyone was laughing at me because they could hear me making noise on the floor upstairs in the spare bedroom in Colorado, pounding the floor as I'm doing my burpees. They could hear me at the house here. Oh yeah, we could hear you doing burpees. I'm like, why? You could hear me? Because I'm like, 220 pounds slamming into the ground. But it does push you out of your comfort zone. And I like the challenge of it. Mix it in with my other fitness and maybe riding a little bit. I'm just trying not to be a slug at 60, I guess. I want to make sure I'm putting myself in a position to keep the pounds off. I think the pounds is what really hurts you. It taxes your heart, everything. If you carry a lot of extra weight at times, it's tough. It's tough on the joints. And I don't like the feeling, I know you haven't had to deal with that too often, but you definitely know some people that have, and yeah, they don't feel as good when they're carrying their weight. So it's one of those things that kind of keep you on track. And maybe if you could just lose 1 pound a month after 12 months, you're down 12 pounds. That's helpful. What if you can make 2 pounds a month? Then you're down 24 pounds at the end of the year. And think about where you'd be. You'd feel a lot better. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's, over time, it really is.
Yeah. I mean, every little bit helps, right? That one step forward every day, and finding that balance of a realistic goal, but also challenging. And I think that we sell ourselves short sometimes in thinking limiting beliefs versus limitless beliefs. And 5,000 burpees is it's a stupid little thing that we're doing, but there are people that have goals that are more important to their long-term physical, mental, spiritual well-being yeah. I mean, if you go into something saying, I'm going to lose 2 pounds a month every month for the rest of, 2019, then that begs the question, like, all right, why can't I lose 5 pounds a month for the rest of the months in 2019, right? So what is it that really truly does push us outside of our comfort zone? Not to the point of, everything else has to take a back seat, but I think sometimes we can be a little bit too easy on ourselves and not give ourselves enough credit for the human nature, our ability to accomplish things if we really set our minds to it, which sounds so cliched, but there really is a lot of truth to it, right?
Yeah, there is. It has to hurt a little bit. Mm-hmm. It has to push you out of the norm. It's got to hurt a little bit. It has to be, and here's just a little silly thing. I'm not going to eat after 7 p.m. I'm not having any food after 7 p.m. at all. That's it. And so that hurts a little bit. Maybe you're out socially and you want to, like, everyone's getting something to eat, or you're like, I kind of feel like someone just baked some cookies. I could have, no, I said to myself, I'm not eating after 7 p.m. for this month and maybe the next 6 months. And so you have to hold true. Instead, like you said, people pardon themselves and they kind of, it's okay. I'll get back on track. Well, that's where the slippage hits, right? And you cannot allow it to happen. It's sort of like a smoker who wants to quit smoking and then says, I can have one. I can have a couple cigs tonight. It's a special occasion. No, you can't. The whole deal was you can't. So don't. And, hold yourself accountable. Easier said than done, but that's where it hurts. So make it hurt a little bit. And then when it's hurting, know that, hey, this is what I chose to do. And this is why I'm doing it. And you'll see the results if you stick to it. If you don't stick to it, you have so many reasons why it didn't happen. But if you do stick to it, the results will follow.
And the sense of accomplishment, that great feeling that you're going to have if you see that goal to its fruition to the end, is going to be far greater than the feeling of, man, this cookie was delicious that I had at 7:30 p.m. Right? I mean, think about it in those terms. Like, that's going to be a great feeling, much greater, so much greater than that momentary feeling of sugar rush, delicious chocolate chips, or whatever it might be that you're talking about.
All right, I got an idea. If you need to have that cookie because it smells so good and it would just be fantastic, a moment on the lips, forever on the hips. Drop down after that cookie and do 100 burpees, maybe 50 burpees, and burn that cookie right back off. If you like, I used to only have dessert, Chris, if I worked out that day. I could have dessert if I earned it. And really all I felt was I just gave back my workout, but I earned that dessert, that social setting, we're having birthday cake, whatever, because I worked out that day. And it's not a bad little game I played for a while. I've been able to keep some of the weight off, but I do think it's harder as it goes, and you pardon yourself a little bit. I'll just have one cookie, and then you have another, and you're like, oh, I'll work out tomorrow. Well, you gave it back. Tomorrow is just tomorrow, so maybe 2 workouts or maybe 1.5 to earn some of that back. So just hold yourself more accountable if you want to keep yourself in good shape. And it gets tougher and tougher as we get older, and you don't feel like it sometimes. There's a catch-22 there, like where people don't want to work out because it doesn't feel good and they're not motivated. But if they don't do it, they won't lose the weight. But they can't lose the weight because they don't feel motivated. So you got to get started and get to that almost runner's high where you missed your workout. And you know that feeling when you feel like, I didn't get my workout in. Now you're in that realm where you're clicking. And get to that, because you love that feeling. It's just getting there can be tough when you've stopped or started or added weight or had an injury, any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a cycle, and the cycle works both ways. That once you start something and you get the feeling of how it makes, you see, whether you see results or whether you just feel results, that feeling of progress propels you to want to continue to do it. And simultaneously, the other side is true as well, in that if you have that feeling of I didn't do anything, and then you add on top of that like a big meal or whatever, you just have zero motivation to want to do anything to break out of that cycle. And so, yeah, it's a matter of kind of getting into the positive cycles and getting those feelings that will motivate you to continue to have those feelings, instead of letting yourself get to the opposite cycle, which is like, this laziness is going to force me to want to watch this show on Netflix, which is going to force me to want to have these cookies over here, and I'll start over tomorrow. All right. So it goes both ways.
It really does. That's our good friend, Mr. Snyder, said he was eating a bowl of ice cream, laughing at the Biggest Loser people. And he's like, I'm watching the TV, eating ice cream, laughing at these people, like a bunch of losers. Look at that. That's so funny. Wait a second. I'm on the couch eating ice cream here. I thought, you caught yourself. So true. So true. Where it's like armchair quarterback, right? It's easier said than done, but every little bit helps. Make the effort, go for the walk, take the long walk, park way far away from the store, you'll get less door dings, and you can walk and walk and walk. You know, it's, to me, it's, those are the kind of things that all add up. And I don't know, I like to being outside sometimes too. Sometimes I get caught up inside so much. I'm like, I just need to get outside and do something, because I want my mind to see something different and get some different air, you know? So keep yourself moving. Some of our friends that I've noticed have been doing a lot more hiking of late, posting on social media. And I really love seeing that, because I know they're outside and they're getting something out of it. You know, they're getting a high going up the mountain. And I'm like, there you go hike, you know, that's good. So whatever works for you, repeat.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you made a good point there. We were talking about setting goals that push us out of our comfort zone and hurting a little bit. Going outside doesn't necessarily hurt, but you have to put a little bit of effort into it, right? Like if I live in my neighborhood and it's not a great sidewalk system, so I have to go a little bit further away to get a safe walk, if you will, or there's a park close by. It takes a little bit of an effort, but sometimes just removing yourself from your standard everyday environment kind of pushes you into, gives you a little motivation to do something different. And yeah, it requires a little effort, and it hurts a little bit, if you will, to step out of your comfort zone.
Yep. Change isn't easy, but make some changes and you'll come to find that it was worth it. Most times it'll be worth it. Just push yourself to get outside, get some burpees done, and don't eat so much. Gosh, you know, like you talked about earlier, we just don't need as much food as we think we do. We just don't, you know. We eat till we're full all the time instead of just eating till we're not hungry. And I always think that's weird. Like, you shouldn't eat till you're full, except on Thanksgiving. You know, that's it. No other meal the rest of the year, in my opinion. Just don't fill up where you're just feeling like, oh, I'm stuffed. You didn't do it right then. That's not good for you. You don't need all that at once. You know, just tone it down, people. I'm on a soapbox today, Chris.
Yeah, we really lectured our audience today. That was not our intention. We had some other ideas that we were going to talk about, but we ended up sort of getting on the fitness kick. And it's all stuff that we're passionate about. It's all stuff that, you know, we see in the people in our lives, and it's something that we try really hard to stay active, because we know, in seeing a lot of people in our lives, that it's so easy, especially like you said, as you get older, to fall out of that cycle. And heaven forbid, you know, you hurt your ankle or something worse than that happens, and it prevents you from being active. And man, at this point in life, that's all it takes, right? Is like one injury to stop all the progress you made, and age catches up to you. And so the longer that we can sort of hold that off, stave that off, and make a routine out of just doing something active, and it doesn't have to be running 10 miles, just something active, even if it's going for a walk, then the better off we're going to be. So I'm stepping off my soapbox as well, and I'm done talking about, you can wrap us up here.
I'll wrap it up by saying, just keep punching, Apollo. Just keep punching.
And keep on moving, don't stop. No, the Soul to Soul song that pops into my head occasionally when I'm like at my desk for a long period of time. It's like, dude, I gotta move. I gotta get out of here.
I like it. Bust a move over there, Buster Rhymes. And let's do this again soon, my friend. It's always good seeing you.
Likewise, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.